In the brutal galaxy of Warhammer 40k, every space marine carries a truth far darker than their legendary armor suggests, a truth born from agony, loss, and the destruction of everything they once were. People across the Imperium worship them as heroes, icons of purity and strength, but few dare to imagine the suffering behind their creation. This story pulls back the curtain, revealing that these warriors are not forged by glory, but by pain so deep it reshapes flesh, mind, and soul. Their transformation begins long before they ever touch power armor. It begins the moment they are taken, children stripped from their homes, identities, and futures. This opening dives into the shadows behind their myth, exposing the hidden terror of becoming something more, and something far less, than human. The journey into the truth of a space marine's origin starts with understanding that they are not trained, they are broken and rebuilt. Their introduction to the Imperium's greatest military force is not a ceremony, it is a sentence. From the moment they enter the recruitment halls, they step into a world where weakness is death and strength is survival. Their lives become endless trials, bones shattered to test endurance, minds attacked to erase fear, and wills crushed until obedience is the only thing left standing. Their humanity is peeled away piece by piece, replaced by genetic experiments, psychological programming, and a doctrine that demands absolute loyalty. What the galaxy admires as courage is born from trauma, what it celebrates as discipline is carved from suffering, and what it calls heroism is forged in the destruction of the person they once were. This video begins by revealing that behind every angel of death lies a child who paid the highest price to become a weapon, and this is their story. The path to becoming a space marine begins long before a warrior dons power armor. It starts in the most vulnerable stages of life, when children are plucked from their homes across the Imperium. The selection process is brutal, precise, and unforgiving. Only the strongest, the most resilient, and the most adaptable are chosen. Physical strength alone is not enough, candidates must demonstrate mental fortitude, an unyielding will, and a potential for loyalty that cannot be broken. Those who fail are discarded, often permanently. The Imperium's recruiters are relentless, examining every physical trait, every psychological reaction, every spark of potential that could be molded into an instrument of war. Gene seed compatibility is tested meticulously, because the genetic implants that will transform them into superhuman warriors can only succeed if their bodies and minds can endure the extreme changes. Recruits are pushed to their absolute limits from the moment they are chosen. Hunger, exhaustion, fear, and physical punishment are tools wielded with precision to measure how far a candidate can endure. But selection is only the beginning. The recruits who survive these initial trials enter a world where trust is rare and survival is uncertain. Bonds begin to form, yet the specter of death hovers constantly over every trainee. Friends and fellow recruits may be lost to the process at any moment, victims of tests designed to separate the weak from the strong. In this crucible, the seeds of the Space Marine are planted, not in comfort, not in glory, but in pain. Only those capable of surrendering their former selves entirely can survive. From this moment, their journey begins, a path where humanity is gradually stripped away, replaced by a destiny defined by war, loyalty, and the cold, relentless demands of the Imperium. Once selected, recruits face a series of trials designed to break them completely, both in body and in mind. The training regimen is unlike anything imaginable in ordinary human experience. Bones are deliberately stressed to the point of fracture, muscles are torn and rebuilt through endless exercises, and endurance is tested under conditions that verge on the impossible. Each trial is carefully calibrated to push recruits past the limits of human pain and fear, forcing them to confront their mortality daily. Physical torment is only the surface. Psychological trials are far more insidious. Fear, doubt, and hesitation are weaponized, manipulated, and exploited. Recruits are placed in scenarios where their deepest anxieties are confronted, often through isolation, sensory deprivation, and forced combat against one another. The weak crumble, and the strong learn to dominate not only their enemies but also their own minds. Every recruit must master the ability to feel pain without fear, to endure suffering without despair, and to respond to terror with aggression. The process is designed not only to eliminate the weak but to cultivate something more than human, a being capable of enduring anything the galaxy can throw at them. Each trial serves as a crucible, forging endurance, reflex, and instinct while simultaneously eroding the soft layers of empathy, self-doubt, and emotional vulnerability. By the time a recruit emerges from this stage, they are no longer the same person, they are stronger, faster, and more ruthless, yet their identity has already begun to fracture. What remains is the raw material for transformation, a body conditioned to survive, and a mind prepared for the next step, the invasive genetic modifications that will forever sever the last ties to their human past. After enduring physical and psychological torment, the next stage of transformation begins with the implantation of gene seeds, surgically inserted organs and biological modifications that will reshape a recruit's body into something far beyond human. This stage is both miraculous and horrifying. Each organ is a living machine, carefully engineered to enhance strength, speed, resilience, and cognitive processing, yet the process is neither gentle nor forgiving. Recruits are subjected to invasive surgeries where organs are removed, replaced, or modified. These gene seeds integrate into the body, rewriting physiology at a cellular level. Bones are reinforced, lungs expanded, hearts enhanced, and muscles strengthened in ways that make ordinary humans seem fragile by comparison. The process is agonizing. The body often rejects these foreign tissues, causing extreme pain, fever, and even death. Only those who survive these modifications move forward. The genetic transformations are accompanied by permanent changes to senses and reflexes. Vision is enhanced, hearing becomes acute, and reaction times reach superhuman levels. Beyond the physical, these implants also interact with the brain, preparing recruits for the next stage of indoctrination. Memories can be suppressed, aggression heightened, and fear responses tempered to the point of near elimination. The human recruit is erased, leaving behind a form engineered entirely for war. Yet the implants do more than create a warrior, they erase what the recruit once was. Pain is a constant companion, survival is a requirement, and identity becomes malleable. Each modification is a reminder that to serve the emperor, the individual must surrender themselves completely. When this stage concludes, the recruit's body has been transformed into a weapon, ready for final conditioning. Their humanity lingers only faintly, held in check by genetic engineering and the relentless grip of the Imperium. The genetic enhancements prepare the body, but the mind must also be reshaped. Psychological reconditioning is the stage where fear, doubt, and emotion are systematically erased, replaced by unwavering obedience, tactical instinct, and a single-minded dedication to the emperor. This process is not subtle, it is invasive, total, and absolute. Recruits are subjected to methods that would shatter ordinary humans, sensory overload, constant indoctrination, and deliberate trauma designed to sever attachments to past lives. Memories of family, childhood, and personal identity are suppressed or removed entirely. Emotional responses are weakened, and the capacity for fear, hesitation, or empathy is diminished to a functional minimum. Recruits are trained to respond to orders instantly, to act without question, and to embrace pain and death as natural states. The mind is molded to endure not only physical stress but the moral and emotional toll of endless war. Compassion, doubt, and hesitation are eliminated, leaving only the resolve necessary to complete missions at any cost. The process often involves conditioning exercises where recruits witness the death of comrades or are forced to act in ways that would horrify ordinary humans. These experiences are deliberately repeated until the neural pathways for doubt and compassion are suppressed, replaced by patterns of obedience and aggression. Each recruit emerges from this stage with a mind honed for strategic thought, tactical awareness, and unshakable discipline. By the end of psychological reconditioning, the human recruit no longer exists in the conventional sense. What remains is a soldier whose mind and body function in perfect synchrony, entirely devoted to the Imperium. Every thought, reaction, and instinct serves a singular purpose: to fight, to endure, and to survive. The transformation is complete, but the final tests still await, challenges that will cement their status as true space marines, ready for a life of war and sacrifice. Even as the recruits emerge stronger, faster, and more resilient, they enter a stage where camaraderie and grief intertwine. Brotherhood is not born of kindness, it is forged in fire, suffering, and shared endurance. The recruits train together, fight together, and suffer together, forming bonds that are as unbreakable as they are tragic. Yet loss is an inseparable companion. Friends, mentors, and fellow trainees are frequently sacrificed to the process, a reminder that survival is absolute and nothing else matters. The loss of comrades serves multiple purposes. It hardens the recruits, teaching them to suppress grief and personal attachment. Emotional resilience becomes a requirement, and every death is a lesson in the impermanence of life. For the survivors, these experiences create an unspoken understanding. The bonds they share are forged in fire and tempered by the knowledge that anyone could fall at any moment. Every mission, every trial, and every combat exercise carries the weight of those lost along the way. Within this crucible of shared suffering, loyalty is born. The bonds formed are not sentimental, they are practical, tactical, and essential for survival. Each recruit learns to depend on others for survival, yet must also remain detached enough to endure loss without faltering. Pain, grief, and sacrifice become tools, shaping the recruits into warriors capable of facing entire armies without hesitation or fear. By the end of this stage, the surviving recruits understand that their humanity is secondary to their duty. They have witnessed death firsthand, and they have internalized the cost of survival. Brotherhood is now inseparable from sacrifice, and the final transformation, into a fully fledged space marine, will demand the ultimate surrender of all remaining attachments, emotions, and remnants of their former selves. After enduring selection, trials, genetic transformation and psychological reconditioning, the recruits enter the final stage, the forging of the space marine. This is where training becomes precision, instinct becomes second nature, and every movement is honed for combat. Power armor is introduced, not as a tool, but as a second skin. Recruits must learn to move, fight, and survive within these suits, mastering their systems while retaining speed, agility, and awareness. Every step is a lesson, every drill a test of endurance, coordination, and instinct. Combat training is relentless. Recruits face enemies in controlled simulations that mimic the chaos of war, explosions, close-quarters combat, ambushes, and relentless waves of attackers. Pain is constant, but it is now integrated into instinct. Reflexes sharpen, strategic thinking evolves, and tactics become an extension of the body itself. Recruits learn to operate as a unit, anticipating the movements of their brothers and the enemy alike. Precision and coordination are drilled until the warrior's actions are seamless, almost preordained. Mental conditioning continues even here. Recruits must face moral ambiguity, make impossible decisions, and act without hesitation. Compassion is carefully restrained, replaced with efficiency, focus, and a willingness to embrace violence as a necessary tool. Every surviving trainee emerges from this stage transformed, a fusion of human ingenuity, genetic enhancement, and battlefield instinct. By the end of forging, the recruits are no longer mere soldiers, they are space marines. They carry the weight of their sacrifices, the memories of lost comrades, and the scars of their trials, both visible and hidden. Each is a weapon, a guardian, and an instrument of the Emperor's will. The transformation is complete, yet the real cost of this power, the erasure of their humanity, remains an invisible shadow that follows them into every battle, every campaign, and every corner of the galaxy. Beneath the shining armor, beneath the glory and awe, lies a hidden truth: every space marine is a monument to suffering and loss. The process that transforms a human into a superhuman warrior is irreversible. Every gain comes at a cost: memories erased, emotions suppressed, identity replaced by duty. Their humanity, once vibrant and full, is now a faint echo, a shadow buried beneath layers of conditioning, implants, and indoctrination. The psychological cost is profound. Space Marines exist in a state of perpetual readiness, trained to endure pain, death, and the horrors of war without hesitation. Empathy and personal desire are muted to nothing, leaving a mind focused solely on strategy, obedience, and survival. Relationships, dreams, and individual ambitions are sacrificed to the demands of duty. In this way, the ultimate price is not just pain endured, but the loss of the very self that once was. The physical toll is equally relentless. Even after all genetic enhancements, every battle, every campaign, and every encounter with alien horrors chips away at the body. Armor and weapons provide protection, but the wounds and scars of endless war accumulate, a permanent reminder that survival is never free. Brothers fall, cities burn, and the galaxy's horrors never end. Each victory is paid for in suffering, each mission a reminder of the sacrifices required. And yet, within this grim reality lies a purpose. Space Marines are the Imperium's ultimate guardians, their suffering and sacrifice ensuring humanity's survival in a galaxy where hope is fragile and fleeting. Their lives are defined not by freedom, but by duty, not by glory, but by survival. In the grim darkness of the far future, the hidden cost of being an angel of death is absolute: power, immortality, and strength, purchased with everything that once made them human. Every Marine stands as a testament to the price of ultimate sacrifice, the true face of endurance, and the haunting truth behind the legend. As the journey of a Space Marine comes to its inevitable conclusion, the truth becomes undeniable: there is no glory behind the armor, no comfort in the legend, and no escape from the cost of survival. Every Marine stands as a living monument to suffering, endurance, and absolute obedience. They are warriors forged not in pride or heroism, but in pain, loss, and the relentless demands of the Imperium. What the galaxy sees as courage is in reality the residue of broken humanity, carefully molded into lethal perfection. Their lives are a paradox, immortal in power, yet enslaved to duty, stronger than any human, yet stripped of the emotions, memories, and identity that once defined them. Every mission, every battle, and every victory comes at a price: the silence of lost comrades, the emptiness of erased pasts, and the haunting weight of unending war. These are not heroes, they are survivors, sculpted from sacrifice, tempered in torment, and bound forever to the Emperor's will. And yet, despite the horror, their existence carries purpose. The Imperium endures because of them. Humanity persists because someone, somewhere, has paid the ultimate price for its survival. Each Space Marine is a reminder that strength without sacrifice is meaningless, and that the cost of duty is measured in more than victories: it is measured in the lives, identities, and souls that were given up along the way. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is no respite, no celebration, and no redemption. There is only duty, sacrifice, and endless war. Every Space Marine, every angel of death, is a testament to this truth: power may be gained, humanity may be lost, and survival comes only to those willing to pay the ultimate price. The legend is eternal, but the reality is far darker than anyone dares imagine.